Awesome. So, welcome everyone. Thank you very much for taking the time today to join and listen to me talk. I've been asked to talk about my personal side of an apprenticeship. So where I've been, how I've got to where I am now, and really what impact that's had, not so much from a course perspective, but actually just in continual professional development, my own self-development. So I'm going to start off just by talking a bit about my background, where I started off as an apprentice or before my apprenticeship. I didn't want to bring slides into this because it's not really something that you can kind of make into slides. It's just me and my life, basically. It's not that exciting, soz guys. Anyway, so I joined a company called Webmart, which was a print management company, just over 4 years ago now, as an apprentice. I went to school, left school, did my A-levels with every intention of going to uni. At the point where I had a choice to actually go to uni, in the September, I decided actually that I wanted to go traveling. So I went traveling, went to Australia, had an amazing 7 months, came back, and was still with the intention of going to uni, but actually with a deferred place. And then realised, you know what, I've just spent 7 months away. I'm not really sure I'm ready to then disappear off for another 3 years at uni, when quite frankly, I didn't really know what course I wanted to do. And the reality was, it was just, that's what everyone was doing. Everyone was going to uni, all my friends were going to uni. So I might as well just follow the herd and go to uni. I came back looking for some work experience between my summer holidays before that was starting, and actually discovered apprenticeships. I realised at the company Webmart that there was an apprenticeship going for a level 3 business admin apprenticeship, to the PA to the CEO. So I thought, do you know what, there's no harm in trying to apply. That's what I'm going to do. Applied for the apprenticeship, had the interview, and managed to get the job. It was a really interesting experience, and if I went to uni, I may not have got that same experience. With my interview, I had to meet with the EA at the time. I had to meet with the CEO, the Chief Operating Officer, the Head of Finance, and many other people. And I just remember going into that as a little 20-year-old going, I don't even know how to use Outlook, but it's fine. I'll wing it. I'll make it up. I'll see how it goes. If I don't get anywhere, at least I've tried. At least I've got the experience. I got the job within 3 months of being there. The current EA took me to one side and she said, I'm leaving. We have an opportunity here. You can either take my position and become the EA to the CEO, or we can look at hiring someone else and then you can be their apprentice. So I stepped up the challenge. I became the EA to the CEO after 3 months in apprenticeship. I was very lucky, very supported in the sense that I was still able to do my apprenticeship. I got the opportunity to mentor as well. I was able to build my confidence in a way that I may not have had those opportunities if I went to uni. I was able to meet and network with some senior people in the print industry and in the business world. I was able to work around the business, work with different elements, different areas. So I spent days sat with the finance team, customer service team, the marketing team, as well as shadowing the CEO to meetings as well. After I'd done that, and I completed my business level 3 admin course, there was the opportunity to take my level 5 management course with the BPIF. So we're starting to see a link here, right? So I started my management course, and whilst doing that, I was doing my continual professional development, and at the same time juggling a full-time job, also trying to keep up with my friends who are at uni, have a social life. Not the easiest thing to do, but somehow I managed to. And I realised at that point that the PA life wasn't what I wanted. But without having that experience, I wouldn't have known that. Now, having the opportunity to work around the business, I was able to then move across to the customer service team and the marketing team and start to really develop my skills there. As I was doing that, that's when I realised that actually I wanted to get more into marketing. I was able to learn marketing skills. At the time of doing my level 5 management course, I also decided to do my Chartered Institute marketing course. I had lots of conversations with lots of my friends, my family, about whether there was the opportunity and the time for me to actually do both at the same time, life juggle a full-time job. I did it. I'm not saying it was easy at all. I did that course, became a marketing executive there. But whilst doing that, it did take a toll on some of my mental health, some of my well-being, because I was trying to put the pressure on myself to do both at the same time. But I managed to do it, and I managed to look back on it and actually realise that that is what I can do, I can achieve. And by doing an apprenticeship, you have those opportunities. You can go, whereas maybe at uni, I wouldn't have necessarily had that. Whilst doing that, I've also managed to develop some soft skills as well, which allowed me the chance to develop my interpersonal skills, my networking skills. So as I said, I was shadowing the CEO and I managed to build up a network. What happened was, unfortunately, end of last year, with the COVID situation, I was made redundant at Webmart. At the time, I was a data and CRM analyst there. So I was looking at a lot of the accounts. I was looking at the sort of the effectiveness of the accounts, growing the accounts. Unfortunately, that position was no longer needed. But because I'd done my courses, because I'd got the soft skills as well as the qualifications, I was able to look for a new job and managed to get one pretty quickly. I actually messaged my management tutor through the BPIF, and he passed my CV round, and there was an opportunity going at the BPIF. I went through the interview process, and luckily I got the role. So yeah, it's a funny one because I never imagined being in this position where I was speaking at an apprenticeship event for the company I currently work for, but at the time was being asked to speak to it while I was at my previous company. So that's a little bit of background to kind of me, my career kind of to date. As I've been asked to talk more about the personal side of things as well, I just wanted to kind of talk more about the reality of doing an apprenticeship at the same time as some of your friends are at uni, people in different periods of their lives. There are certainly some positives and negatives of doing an apprenticeship. One thing I wanted to talk about was it's certainly given me some resilience. And resilience is a word at the moment which seems to be coming up an awful lot. I was able to manage my skill set. I was able to manage my time in a way that students that go to uni and take the traditional university don't seem to have to worry about as much. They spend their time in lectures, and then once they finish their lectures, they then go home, they do the coursework that they need to complete, and then they go back and give it to their tutor. They maybe have a part-time job. Ultimately, that part-time job for them is just a side step, just to get some money. There's no real concern. They just need to kind of get through and get kind of the money so that they can then fund their course. What I was doing was I was doing my job. I was applying the skills from my job. I was learning and making that a case study to then go home and do my coursework. I was allowed some time, of course, in my working hours to get that done. But ultimately, if something came up that was urgent that I needed to jump on, I had to jump on it. So the effect of that meant I then had to come home and complete my courses. Some of my friends, they were out, they were enjoying student life, they were going on their freshers weeks, they were having their student nights in the middle of the week. And I couldn't do that because I knew I had to get up to go to work to do a full-time job. But that's okay now. That's okay because I built that resilience. I built that structure around my sort of working week in a way that they didn't have the opportunity to learn. Now I'm getting to a point where my friends and we are starting to level out again. I finished my courses last year. They finished uni a couple of years ago. I had 4 years of work experience whilst doing those courses. We had the work experience, but they got their qualifications quicker. But ultimately, they then kept coming to me to understand those soft skills and those personal skills of how do I actually juggle a full-time role? How do I make up an opportunity to get a networking? How do I get into new places? And they're suddenly coming to me for all that, which is really interesting. And actually what I'm trying to just say here and to sort of sum it all up is that when you look at the opportunities of weighing up uni or an apprenticeship, there are certainly strengths and weaknesses of both. I know this is an apprenticeship event and I am 100% for apprentices, especially in the COVID time, because let's be honest, the only difference between an apprenticeship and now is that they got the social aspect, and at the moment we're all in lockdown, no one can do anything, and like Kerry touched on earlier in one of the sessions is that they were able to complete their courses and get their qualifications. At uni at the moment, I know that everyone's all over working over Zoom calls, and they are not getting the support from their teachers and their tutors in the same respect. One of my friends that's a couple of years younger than me, she said that it's a nightmare because she's stressed, she's panicking, and all she wants to do is go into the classroom, go into the lecture rooms, and she can't. No one wants to interact. They're all sat on Zoom calls in silence. Whereas in the working world and doing an apprenticeship, you don't do that. You get pushed out your comfort zones and you get made to do that. I've just seen a question from Dom. How much debt did your friends have when they went to uni? So the courses that they were doing, £9,000 a year. And then I believe they would have got a sort of student loan on top of that, maybe about £4,000 a year, if that, to kind of live off. And quite frankly as well, I know that living off that amount, I like stuff. Just going to put that one out there. I like stuff. I like being able to get my nails done, do my hair, things that you wouldn't necessarily have the luxury of doing if you were a student, because you could just about afford the food for the week and obviously that bottle of vodka when you want to go on a night out and free. But I think that's certainly something that I am now at a lot more advantage than my friends. I've learned to budget. I've had to I've learned to budget. It was tough when I was on my apprenticeship wage, but I did it. I had the support of my parents. I was still living at home. And I also got the best of both. I was able to go to see my friends and visit their uni lifestyle and experience that. There'd be weeks where I'd spend a week or so at some of my friends' accommodation and dorm rooms, and they showed me the experience. We went to the shops, we did all the same stuff that you would do if you were a student. And by the end of it, honestly, I was ready to come home. It's completely different with different people. But that's just how I felt about university and apprenticeships. And I'm glad now, looking back, where I was 4 years ago when I made that choice, when I got off the plane from Australia and I had those 2 to 3 weeks between starting an apprenticeship or going to uni, I wouldn't change it now. I don't miss it. I know I'm going to get a graduation, touch wood, when COVID goes away. I'll get a graduation. So in reality, I don't feel like I've missed out at all. I feel like I've had opportunities that my friends wouldn't have had. And there is certainly something to be said about apprenticeships and growing and developing and strengthening. I've got about a minute left. Has anyone got any questions? And I know I will get moaned at if I overrun, seeing as I built half the schedule. Thanks, Ursula. Thanks, Gary. Well, if there's no questions for the session, we will be moving on to an apprentice forum, which will be facilitated by some of our training coordinators and apprentices. So a panel session that will be at 10:45. So yeah, thank you everyone for listening, and see you all soon.